As President John Dramani Mahama announces cabinet approval for second gas processing plant GPP2 to double capacity, will engage with the technical advisor to the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana. Well, we have details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 60 minutes if you spend your time with me. Also, you can get interactive with us. We are live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Well, let's begin from the Ashanti region. And President Mahama, in his recent encounter with the media, announced that Cabinet has given the approval for the construction of a second gas processing plant, GPP2, which is expected to double Ghana's national processing capacity and save the country close to $500 million every 2 years. The president explained that the project marks a major step in his government's energy and economic recovery agenda aimed at reducing reliance on expensive imported liquid fuel. And now let's go on Zoom and speak to technical advisor to the Minister of Energy and Green Transition and the focal point for the GPP2 construction at the ministry, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana. Doc, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. And Doc, this obviously will boost energy supplies and create jobs.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon, George, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners and viewers across the country. Yeah, indeed, it's going to be a huge boost in terms of our job creation. But far from that, if you notice, before GPP2, we had GPP1, and then just look at the situation. If we hadn't had GPP1 in place, we'll have a lot of issues with respect to our energy requirement. So this move to create another opportunity or another parallel train that will complement what we have with the GPP1, which is a 12 Ghana gas. If you have GPP2, what will happen is that first of all, it will help us stop flaring. Flaring, is environmental disastrous. We lose a lot of money when we flare these gases. And so if you have another gas train, instead of flaring this gas, we'll just channel it to the second gas train. And then I can tell you what, we're going to boost a lot of, our energy requirement. And then far from that also, we notice something we call NGLs, that is natural gas liquids. When we do a lot of recovery, a lot of this gas processing and generate a lot of liquids, most of these liquids are what we use, to produce what you call premix and then the condensate. And then the president also mentioned job creation. Indeed, that's a given. If you look at even the current GPP1, the 12 gas that we have, we are talking about 1,000 plus, even though for GPP2, hopefully we will try to operate it optimally in a way that we can create a lot of jobs, but of course not in that neighborhood. But the president meant that from the construction stage to the time we're going to get it operating, we're going to have 1,000 plus jobs that's going to be created. And that's a given, because if you look at even GPP1, with the straight line jobs, it's creating like 1,000 jobs. And with GPP2 coming, I think we're going to create a lot of jobs. And that will be a huge relief to the to our team and graduates. Okay, George.
Okay, Doc, let's look at local consumption. How will this intervention contribute to the provision of reliable and cheaper power for domestic use and export as well?
Yeah, so straightforward. Expensive fuel would directly translate to expensive tariffs at the end of the day. And so, if you notice, the president clearly mentioned liquid-based fuel, and that's a fact. Whenever this gas we have shortfalls, let's say a turbo gas is going down, or West African gas pipeline is not coming on stream, or they're taking off they're closing the tap, we're going to find out, we always find ourselves wanting. And so, yes, and we'll have to rely on liquid-based fuel to cover up. And liquid-based fuels are quite expensive, apart from its environmental, unfriendliness. Yes, so indeed, if you have, gaseous fuel as compared to liquid-based fuel, cost-effective one is going to be great. And if we are also championing what we call gas to power, that will boost or catalyze the rate at which we champion gas to power. If we have a lot of gas conduits springing up, and one of them is, a GPP2, what will happen is that we can have quite a number of power plants spreading across the country with gas availability reaching them. And if we do that, and we have enough gas within the shores that can power these gas plants, I can tell you that the provision of light is going to be very stable and dependable, and also competitive cost-wise. George.
Doc, before you take leave of us, how important is the recent announcement of the ENI Ekuma discovery as mentioned by the president during the press briefing?
Yeah, so that's crucial, and that's very, very important. If you notice, Ghana had been in inertia for quite some time. Over a decade, we hadn't had any improvement in our oil production. In fact, we started declining. Our plateau didn't stay long. Usually, conventionally, if you reach your plateau, you need to do a lot of investment to be able to maintain the plateau for a elongated period of time. Unfortunately, what happened in Ghana, our plateau was steep. We reached the plateau and started declining. So consistently for a number of years, you see that we started declining, oil production started declining. So when the government came to power, they clearly mentioned that they're going to revitalize the upstream center, and that's exactly what we did. If you notice the new discovery, it's coming from ENI. Bear in mind, ENI almost exited Ghana. Since 2029, ENI hadn't done any substantive investment until the coming of this new regime. And so that creation of that enabling environment, that boost up investment into the sector is a game changer. So I think this new discovery is going to be a game changer. It's going to add to the production basket that we have. And George, I can tell you that in this era, if oil prices are not good, you have to depend on your volumes. If you can't churn out more volumes, and then your revenues that you're going to get from the oil will not be that much. So yes, it's an important thing, and I think it's a crucial discovery, and we hope many more will come. And I can tell you that a lot of people are more interested in Ghana fields now. We are talking about Chevron, Shell, and the rest. That means that that creation of that enabling environment is the one that is catalyzing this momentum, George.
Doc, it's always a pleasure engaging your thoughts on issues of the energy sector. Dr. Yusuf Sulemana is the technical advisor to the Minister of Energy and Green Transitions, and also the focal point for the GPP2 construction at the ministry. And our lawyer and politician Samuel Mpatuam has criticized government and the Attorney General for prosecuting his client, former director of the Signals Bureau, Kwabena Edubuahin, denying him the opportunity to a fair trial. He spoke to my colleague Beatrice Edu in a yet-to-be-aired interview. Take a listen.
Immediately you use the press, then you want to taint the person before you start the prosecution. So the question is, if you destroy a family in the press, that they are thieves, they've stolen so much money, they should come for plea bargaining, only to be acquitted and discharged by a court of competent jurisdiction. How do you repair the damage? So this reset way of NDC is not consistent with the Constitution.
The Attorney General didn't think that he was painting the accused black. He thought that he was informing Ghanaians because of the amount involved.
Maybe you've not paid attention to that press conference. It was a horrible spectacle of our criminal jurisprudence. He said they are people who are going to go to jail and they better come for plea bargaining. I wish you pay attention to all that he said.
He said all of that.
Yeah, he said all that because then at that point in time it was the court and the prosecutor in the public space where they've packed their own people to deal with the matter. Because I didn't hear one journalist being bold enough. Attorney General, you are wayward. This is the first time we are seeing you, an Attorney General doing this. What is the presumption of innocence as enshrined in the Constitution? Every man, for that matter, woman, is presumed innocent until proven otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction, not in the media space.
We've had a journalist asking that question in one of his press conferences, and he answering that, like I just told you, that it wasn't to prosecute the person in the public.
But when you say somebody, you have condemnable evidence against another person, and in fact, it will be in his best interest to come and plead bargain. What are you saying? You are guilty by my standards, not by the standards of the court of competent jurisdiction. And do you know who is speaking? The Attorney General, the Article 88 creature in the Constitution, the one supposed to administer justice and fair play. So that was very distasteful, and now we are in the court. But let me tell you one of the things which happened also. The theatrics did not start with the Attorney General. Can you imagine that a security couple of the realm called Ghana comes to Ghana through Kotoka International Airport, not through the bush. And he's supposed to be prosecuted or investigated. And then when he's in the airport, they put a handcuff on his hand like a common criminal. All that I've come to know is that when you say you are investigating somebody, a phone call, oh yes, Kwabena Dubuain, Yoko would want you to come over tomorrow for us to start an investigation. You may come with your lawyer, and the time scheduled you for the interrogation is 1 p.m.
We'll go into that as regards why the Attorney General, based on the Attorney General's own words, why he chose to use that avenue. Well, he was arrested by Yoko at the Kotoka International Airport. But back to my question about whether or not the revelation from the Attorney General shocked you as a person that an individual would have as much as that amount of money transferred into his private account.
But it's all bogus.
Your client is being tried.
Yes.
For his operations within a particular period of time.
Yes.
Why did you find it necessary to ask the court to compel whichever institution, i.e. the national security, to reveal its transactional details from 1992 to date?
To expose the bankruptcy of understanding of those who are prosecuting him. Because there's a pattern of national security. So that people will see that, oh, this is what they do. And you go back and find out that the national security has been using all manner of means in the operation. So that this is not new. This is what we were trying to do. And unfortunately, the judge blocked it.
You've admitted in this interview that the national security wants to use decoys in its operations. If indeed that is the case, then there was no point asking for the national security to review its transactional financial activities when you know that that is also supposed to be protected.
But they don't want to protect.
Well, the full exclusive interview is here on TV3, and so you don't want to make a date. And it's still on legal matters. Private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu says the new Patriotic Party Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronya, should not be kept in custody for 1 week. He says the fact that the judge adjourned the case for a week does not mean the police will wait for a week, because the courts have made it clear that they will sit any day. He spoke on the key points earlier today.
Abronya doesn't have to stay in custody for the 1 week. Today, even today, if they want, Kpebu number 4. The Supreme Court held that Saturdays, Sunday, Mondays, public holidays, the court can sit. So if they negotiate, the right processes can be filed, and even today, the judge can sit and then grant Abronya bail. We can't allow this kind of treatment to continue. Hey, if we don't speak up, it will grow and become worse. Look, if the police have any case against Abronya, concentrate on the merits. Let the actual trial go on. If he's found guilty, under the law, he will take the punishment. But don't use this buga communist inferior tactics. No, it's we've grown past that. And I'm happy that yesterday night, the Attorney General was called in. I understand he's doing something about it.
Still on Martin Kpebu, the private legal practitioner is calling for support to defray the cost of medical bills for Joy News reporter Lateef Idrisu, who suffered a head injury at the hands of the police during the arrest and detention of the then NDC Deputy General Secretary Koku Anyidowu. Martin Kpebu also appealed to the Attorney General to facilitate the payment of compensation to Lateef Idrisu.
Your colleague journalist, Lateef Idrisu, was hit on his head by the police. He suffered life-threatening injuries. You know what? Long story short, it was just by a miracle that one day I met him. Long story short, then we had to help him to go to the US to do surgery. Yeah. They said, look, another few months he would have been dead. Another long story short, 3 years on, he still has to go periodically. As we speak now, there's a bill of $25,000 for his medical bills. So maybe, well-wishers who are listening, Lateef Idrisu of Joy FM, look, his situation has been bad for the past 3 years. Over $70,000 gone into his medical bills. No, they couldn't do it here in Ghana.
Yeah.
They had to go to the US. So those who want to help, please reach out, Lateef Idrisu of Joy FM, So that's the point I'm making. This thing about police being too, exuberant, trying to please the president, trying to please the IG, and doing all manner of, they call it face fine or eye service.
Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner sharing his expertise on the key point with my colleague and Alfred Okanse. If you just tuned in, you're watching Weekend Central here on TV3 with me, George Quinn. Let's move to the Ashanti region. Calm has been restored at Mpatuam in the Ashanti region after days of chaos, despite a dispute over a concession has already claimed 2 lives. And the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Abumakwehene, has assured of justice as the government investigates the matter. And now let's go on to phone lines and engage our Northern Bureau Chief via Zoom, William Evans Inkum, to give us updates on this. William, the last time we spoke, the Regional Security Council was ready to engage the Arid Mpatuam community. What more do we know?
Well, so that engagement has happened, and there's some restoration of calm as far as Mpatuam and its environs are concerned. And that is an assurance. Or because an assurance is coming from the regional minister, who has also communicated the president's message to the irate, community members, that thorough investigation will be conducted to unravel the root cause of recent disturbances. Of course, he's also pledging government support to community members, of course, family of the REIT. Let's listen to Dr. Frank Abumakwehene.
Okay.
Our dear Maya gold no. Ebe dani nshira Maya, na enko dani ade bi ade etutu to na nipakunkum na beba. Se na nkopon de
a gold deposit should not be a curse on us, but we have a responsibility to ensure that. Why must the mining of the precious mineral turn violence, to the extent that some even lose their lives? The president is sad about this, and he has commissioned an investigation to unravel the root cause of the clash. We will certainly get to the bottom of this matter so that the death of the assemblyman doesn't become in vain.
Assemblyman ewuo no enyekwa nti nhwehwemu bi a wose ye bia no ebe ni sa.
Dr. Frank Abumakwehene is the Ashanti Regional Minister, and let's continue to engage our Northern Bureau Chief, William Evans Inkum. William, we also understand the community has been making certain demands. What exactly do they want?
Well, so George, they want a withdrawal of the military, but that demand to some of us was going to be a very tricky one to the Regional Security Coordinating Council, because right after Tuesday's disturbances, there was a release or a statement from Asanko Mines indicating that the military are there because they are supposed to, or it forms part of state-mandated security intervention, and of course, it's being coordinated through the Chamber of Mines. So I don't know how the community is going to achieve that, but there are other economic demands that the community is also making. And the assembly member for Mpatuam, Ntwi Bosiakon, has been talking about a quota area of employment. Let's listen to him.
Okay.
We were promised 30% employment quota, but that wasn't realized. We have been disappointed.
With qualifications.
So, William, before you go, how will you describe the current state of Mpatuam?
Well, a doubt tension. Mpatuam is very normal as I speak to you now. Life is restored back and people are going about their duties. But you can also not overlook the underlying volatile situation.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. William Evans Inkum is our Northern Bureau Chief and updating us on the Mpatuam tension. Some, calm has been restored after the minister, that's the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Abumakwehene, intervened in this very impasse. And this, of course, is a development we'll keep tap on and surely update you in our subsequent bulletins. And our economist and professor of finance at the University of Ghana, Godfred Bokpin, says the president has failed in the fight against galamsey. He stated that there was no sense of urgency towards the fight against illegal mining, and the president has been abysmal in this stead. He made this statement on Key Point.
When it comes to fighting illegal mining, call it galamsey, or irresponsible mining, my considered view is that the president has failed us.
The president has failed in the fight against galamsey?
Yes.
Why?
That's my view. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'll give you a couple of reasons. We are not attaching the urgency that is needed in addressing this particular issue. The president, and you see, consistency, policy credibility, and all of that matters a lot. The president was with us when he was in opposition. We were all at the same level in terms of the diagnosis of the issues and the approach. And I believe that in all those discussions, we had considered all these options. That the president now says that the powers have not been exhausted and all of that, and therefore, this should be a last resort. We are not disputing that. I believe that, and we are of the view that we are actually at the point where we need to trigger the last resort.
Which is the state of emergency?
Yeah.
But CEO of the National Petroleum Authority and head of legal affairs unit of the governing National Democratic Congress, Edidju Tamaklo, disagrees with Professor Bokpin on the president's refusal to declare a state of emergency. Take a listen.
When Prof was talking, I listened to him. And because he's a professor, I was minded to interject. And when he said the president had failed in this fight against galamsey, because he's a professor, I wanted to find out from him what were the marking scheme. Because at the point I was wondering whether he was using the UCC marking scheme or grading system or the University of Ghana.
Where pass mark is 100%.
Clearly, from what I've seen, the pass mark is 100%. Because if not, a fair, candid, objective analysis of the interventions that have been put in place, the conclusion cannot be that the president has failed.
Well, let's know what you make of the president's decision on galamsey. We are active on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Engage us. Hopefully, we'll read your comments and share them to the rest of the world. One suspect has been arrested after heavy-duty equipment worth millions of Ghana cedis belonging to crack manufacturers and artisans of Ayalolo Amamumo within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly was destroyed in an early morning fire on Saturday, September 13. Joseph Armstrong spoke with Chief Fire Officer Daniela Mausi in To Sapon. Take a listen.
The negligence is too much, and that is what is worrying us as a nation. With the other time when we went to Latebi Okwashi, somebody was smoking cigarette, left it there, and then fire. Here too, the person has even been arrested and is detained at the Jamestown police station. He was burning some rubbish, slept, and then this is what we are seeing now. So the negligence, I say, is something that is worrying us as a country.
You mean you've done your investigations and it's concluded and you know for a fact that somebody smoked a cigar, left it, and that led to that fire?
Yes, we've done our investigations and that is exactly what happened.
Have you been able to get the culprit?
No, the person is on the run, so we are now searching out. But we've liaised with immigration and then they are assisting us in that direction.
Let me take your final words on today's fire and your advice to the general public.
Today's fire, all went well. I mean, my men were able to fight the fire very well, except that we had some challenges with the walls and accessibility, where we had a wall and then within the wall there was another wall and all that, so we had to break through. And then after that, even getting access to where the fire is was a problem. That was our challenge, but then all well said, we were able to put it under control.
Well, we've heard from the Ghana National Fire Service, and some of the artisans affected by the fire have been speaking to TV3.
This morning, around 12:30 to 1, I hear there's a fire. Then I come out, I see that one of our weather shop, there's a fire there. Then I ask, what happened? Then they say one of the boys are burning firewood, or what do you call it, rubbish there. Then I say, because side and side is a plywood, so I can't do anything. I start calling those who I know, or those who can help. But the thing is too much for us. That's why the thing happened like that. This is not the first time. It happened normally last 2 years. It's happened here. So we are still on it. I can't mention it because only myself, my own is over billions. Because only one machine I can bought it about 1 billion plus. So I have about 8 machines and somebody's properties and the wood are packaged inside. It's not the same.
We lost everything. This is our shop. Doors, bed, a lot of things we lost in here. Our tools all. More than billions. Because some of the things we do, bed like 10 pieces of bed, which somebody do, we keep it here, it bend. A lot of things bend here. Plywood, our plywood. One plywood is 480 cedis. And we lost plywood like 80 pieces.
My colleague Joseph Armstrong will bring us an extensive report on this fire outbreak, so keep watching TV3 in that regard. And now the Electoral Commission, EC, has announced that it has reopened nomination for the Tamale Central by-election from Friday 12 September to 21st September. The 10-day grace period is in accordance with Article 52 of the Constitution. The new date follows the situation where 2 of the 3 candidates withdrew from the nomination after it closed. A release is issued and signed by Head Commissioner Jean Mensah said the nomination will be received at the Tamale Metropolitan Officer of the Commission. The release entreated any candidate interested to download the forms on the Commission's website. Well, that takes us to our very first commercial break. Keep watching TV3, back shortly.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come.
It's on SuperSport all season long. Pay your subscription today. Dial *759#. Available on DSTV and GoTV.
From the heart of Ghana, a new movement is rising. The maiden edition of the Africa Tourism Renaissance Conference 2025 will bring together women, youth, SMEs, creative minds, investors, and the diaspora to transform Africa's tourism and adjacent industries. 2 days of powerful panels, interactive masterclasses, exhibitions, and networking. The event is under the theme Accelerating Africa's Development, the role of a robust tourism and tourism adjacent industry in catalyzing sustainable economic growth, human capital development, industries governance, and infrastructure. This event is slated for the 25th and 26th of September 2025 from 7 a.m. at the Accra Marriott Hotel. For inquiries, call 0535-139919. ATRC 2025, the Renaissance begins in Ghana. This event is organized by the 6th Africa Region Initiative in partnership with Accra Marriott Hotel and supported by TV3.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chese na me ankasa me period na se problems wom. Ntina ma wo ho idea ma me. Papa chese na nya asem ketewa. Coin point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fa no. E na ma mo kra me ko fa kwa na mo kwan mu a eba.
And everything
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation.
Much talked about phase 1 of the Fodome Campus project for the University of Health and Allied Sciences. The project, now estimated to cost a total of about 36 million cedis, was commenced in 2015 by government, but stalled for almost 10 years despite repeated calls from chiefs in the area for its completion. And correspondent Faisal Abdul Idrisu has the rest of the story.
The Fodome Campus project, which was started under President Mohammed's first administration, was intended to provide adequate infrastructure for the Fred Binka School of Public Health at the University of Health and Allied Sciences. Few months after, the project was abandoned, with work estimated to have reached only 58%. Despite several assurances to the chiefs of the area by the Nanado-led administration, the project saw no progress while the school grappled with infrastructure deficits.
The necessity for the completion of this project. Currently, our student population at the Fred Newton Binka School of Public Health is near 3,000, it's 2,000 plus. And the recent 10-unit classroom with its very minimal infrastructure at the Oncopsychiatric Center, where the University FN Binka School campus has been incubated since 2012, is not sufficient. And our students are really crumbled in classrooms, and lecturers are having to repeat and break classrooms, and it's too burdensome for both students and lecturers. And so it is very, very necessary that this project we see behind us is completed.
But the contractor has now returned to site following new commitments from government. Member of Parliament for the area, Thomas Walanyo Chekpo, told TV3 News that other infrastructure projects are expected to spring up to accommodate the school's growing population.
This project is not an abandoned project by MPP. In fact, they didn't start it. We started it and they abandoned it. So we have come back to take over the project to see to its completion. So completing this facility, at least, if not being able to solve the entire problem of the university, it may solve it halfway. This is the first phase. We have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. There are also a roadmap that we have drawn for the phase 2, phase 3 and the phase 4. Now that the contractor has resumed work, we will continue, and then by next academic year, we'll have students using the facility.
Fourth Regional Minister James Gunu, who taught the site on Wednesday, urged the contractor to ensure the timely completion of work while indicating government's commitment.
If you have come back well and come back properly and make sure we finish this job. Okay? It's so dear to the heart of His Excellency the President. Okay? So I will be passing here. I can branch here at any time. When I come, I want to see your work plan clearly displayed. Okay? The growing population of the school is huge. Yeah. So there is high demand, and we thank President Mills and President Mahama for this vision.
And board chairman of the National Cocoa Farmers Association Credit Union, Augustine Aka, has described the previous government's cocoa pension scheme as a scam. Mr. Aka, who is also the General Secretary for the National Cocoa Farmers Association Zone 37, Limu branch, says no registered farmer benefited from the scheme. Arama Smith has more.
The Cocoa Pension Scheme is a social protection program designed to offer financial security to cocoa farmers after retirement. It is typically funded by contributions from the cocoa farmers themselves with support from government and other stakeholders. After government reviewed the commodity pricing for farmers, board chairman of the National Cocoa Farmers Association Credit Union, Augustine Aka, is advocating for an enhanced package for the farmers. He insists the Cocoa Farmers Pension Scheme failed to provide any benefits for them as promised, describing it as a scam deployed to exploit the proceeds of cocoa farmers.
What be send nipa back or say yeah pension scheme the man as a siano or wakada.
Nobody has benefited from this pension scheme. Not yet. Even New Edubiase and the other districts they claim to have done it. Have you ever asked if anyone has benefited from it? They registered people and gave out cards, but it was a scam.
On the 2025 Farmgate pricing, he describes this as disappointing and accuses government of reneging on its campaign promise of paying 70% of the global market price to farmers. He laments that cocoa farming is no more lucrative as the cost of input and farm management have shot up. Mr. Aka suggests that government undertakes a broader consultation with leadership of cocoa farmers before announcing future cocoa prices, whilst cautioning government over its policy of providing farmers with free cocoa inputs.
Yeah, free no more the extension officers for so na emedru ye ho. We want to
avoid the free supplies policy, where Cocoa Board provides input to extension officers, which ultimately burden farmers with huge procurement costs. This practice has led to losses under the previous leadership, with farmers being told to bear the costs.
Enough is enough.
Manager of the National Cocoa Farmers Association Credit Union, James Ngwa, reports that due to crippling labor costs, many farmers are now unable to pay loans taken out in anticipation of significantly higher prices.
We were shocked because our expectation was so high.
We were shocked by the new price announcement as our expectations were high. Farmers took loans for farm inputs, anticipating higher prices to repay them. Unfortunately, the recent increment didn't meet our expectations. Now, farmers are avoiding market days due to fears of loan repayment demands, which is my primary concern. As the manager, I am struggling to find a solution that balances loan recovery with supporting our farmers.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Western Region.
And now the Western Regional Office of the Food and Drugs Authority has confiscated and destroyed unlicensed drugs estimated at 250,000 Ghana cedis.
The product destroyed, which consists largely of sexual enhancement drugs, were seized during operations at unauthorized drug peddling points. The exercise is part of ongoing efforts to safeguard public health and ensure higher safety standard in the market. Francis Adam Odum is a senior principal regulatory officer at the Western Region Food and Drug Authority.
To ensure that we still have registered products on the market, we have wholesome products on the market, so we conduct what we call post-market surveillance. And from time to time, we also conduct what we call swoops. And it was during one of the swoops and the market surveillance that we got all these products. All these were on the market.
So which area did you find these things?
We have hotspots in Takrady, where these products are being peddled. As for the market surveillance, we go to pharmacies, we go to licensed chemical shops, we go to herbal shops and all that. And we pick some of these items from these shops. But most of these were seized during a swoop. That is an operation we carried out at various hotspots within the Takrady metropolis. And this is what we do to rid the market of these unregistered products, fake products, expired products, and so many forms of non-compliant products. This is sildenafil. The sildenafil that is registered or approved is mostly 50 milligrams and 100 milligrams. We have 300 milligrams here. We have some that are 2,000 milligrams. Take this and you get the initial result that you were seeking. Imagine what you are doing to your kidneys.
The FDA is meanwhile cautioning the public to buy medicine only from licensed pharmacies and approved herbal outlets. Stephen Kujo, TV3 News, Western Region, Sofukrum.
In more news this afternoon, residents of districts like Atebubu, Amentin, Sene East, Sene West, and Pru East, with approximately 290,000 population, are battling with what they describe as the region's worst road network. These deplorable roads are not just an inconvenience, but a major impediment to economic activity. This very story, but it takes us to our second break. This is Weekend Central. I'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Reporting from the Takrady Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
We are live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Engage us with your thoughts on stories that I've aired so far. Engage us with your observations. TV3 Ghana, hopefully read them and share them to the rest of the world. In more news this afternoon, Executive Director of Pen Plus by Jerry Sam has blamed recent growth in misinformation on lack of enforcement of the law. Reacting on the back of President Mohammed's hate speech comments, he called for enforcement of the law on misinformation and hate speech to sanitize the media. Take a listen.
Research findings by Pen Plus Byte have exposed the weak sanctions imposed on corporates, revealing how this contributes to the rising rates of misinformation in the system. The executive director of Pen Plus Byte, Jerry Sam, expressed concern that the trend is getting out of hand.
We need to educate our people so that we can even self-censor. Certain media or platforms that encourage insults or allows insults. Citizens, we don't go there anymore. They don't have the audience, and then they become irrelevant, and that comes from training. And whilst they become irrelevant, nobody listens to you. You end up not doing it. But then if we still buy into it and we still consume it, and they still have that audience, they will keep on doing it. And that comes to that education that we abhor it, all of us take action. I mean, the fight against mis and disinformation is not only from government side, it's a whole society effort.
He called for long-term solutions, emphasizing that Ghana's education system must incorporate media and information literacy into school curricula.
We include things about fact-checking, media information literacy in national curriculum, so that kids come out of school and they don't become purveyors of disinformation, but then they're able to take action when they come across things to do with disinformation, which has adverse effects on communities.
According to the latest research finding by Pen Plus Byte, there is a pressing need to bridge the gap between existing laws and their real-world application. The multi-stakeholder conference brought together key voices, including media professionals, civil society groups, legal experts, and educators, each contributing insight on how best to strike a balance between regulation and freedom of expression. As part of the discussions, recommendations were made for stakeholders to collaborate on developing clear national guidelines that will not only define the scope, but also clarify the terms of use for certain legal provisions.
Become the first country in Africa to chair the Global Action Against Mass Atrocity Crimes, GAMAC, and is taking on the mantle of leadership from Costa Rica. Delivering a speech at the handing over ceremony, the Interior Minister pledged the government's commitment to support GAMAC and promised to help with its initiatives. Nura Mohammed reports.
Launched in 2013 by 5 countries, Argentina, Costa Rica, Denmark, Sweden and Tanzania, the Global Action Against Mass Atrocity Crimes, GAMAC, is dedicated to preventing some of the most severe crimes against humanity. For the first time, its secretariat and presidency will be chaired by an African country, Ghana, taking over from Christian Guillermet Fernandez of Costa Rica. During the handing over ceremony, Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council, Dr. George Amo, who now chairs GAMAC, noted Africa's resilience and commitment to peace building.
For me personally, it is both an honor and a responsibility, an opportunity to contribute to shaping the global agenda on prevention from an African perspective. And I want to thank Kofi Annan for helping us. Thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Honorable Kujato Ablako has been very supportive.
The Interior Minister, Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak, commended the role of GAMAC in preventing atrocities against mankind.
Fundamentally, the 4 crimes of genocide, ethnic cleansing, crime against humanity, and war crime are heinous crimes that humans have committed against itself. This also affirms crimes perpetrated against humans that need institutions like GAMAC and all government to work together, preventing them from happening again. It is therefore imperative for the government of Ghana to give its full support to the Secretariat and the Office of the GAMAC during their stay in the country. I also use this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Amo, the Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council, on your appointment as the chair of GAMAC.
The Deputy Foreign Minister, James Jachikwesing, condemned ongoing conflicts and violence in countries such as Gaza and Sudan and called for peace. The Swiss ambassador to Ghana, Simone Giger, also highlighted Switzerland's active involvement in GAMAC's activities since its inception.
Mantra Ghana has partnered the National Road Safety Authority in a bid to ensure road safety compliance. The 1-month campaign also seeks to reduce deaths of road crashes, which stands at 1,713 from January of this year till date. Every day, about 8 lives are lost on Ghana's roads with ripple effect on families, businesses and the economy, according to the National Road Safety Authority. From January till date, 1,713 lives were lost, surpassing the number of deaths recorded during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is against this backdrop that Mantra Ghana is partnering the National Road Safety Authority to ensure road crashes are minimized, if not entirely curtailed. For the National Road Safety Authority, dedicating a whole month to road safety awareness across multiple locations, it's worth commending.
January to June 2025, we recorded 7,289 crashes. Out of that, 1,504 deaths and over 8,800 injuries were recorded. What does this mean? It means that every day 8 people die. So today 8 people will die. So you see how it is. That is how you should look at it.
Over the 1-month period, road users and drivers alike will be sensitized on road safety.
This initiative in particular was developed out of a concern that we picked up from the beginning of the year. We've recorded a few vehicular accidents. Even though they were not directly direct errors, we realized that it culminates into all of what we see as a nation. So this prompted us to put into action some plans along this to drive the awareness of the existence of high vehicular accidents in our country and associated fatalities.
Ghanaians have been implored to be mindful in their activities as road safety is a shared responsibility. Well, 8 lives are lost daily on Ghana's roads, and this calls for swift action. Indeed, all hands on deck. And that's how we draw the curtains on today's edition of Weekend Central. It came to you live from the news app here at Artisan. For more news updates, just log on to our website, it's 3news.com. Alternatively, you can follow us on Instagram, tv3.ga. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Good afternoon.